listen, the O-line, they'll get you through the first and second level, but when you get to that third level, it's all on you. And that's kind of all I thought about was I got to make this guy miss. And then I just kind of saw green daylight, and I heard the crowd go crazy, and I scored. Like I said, I blacked out because I was like, holy smack! Like I just scored a 60-some yarder, and
You're tuned in to the Ross Tucker Football Podcast, guiding your gridiron journey, none other than your host, former NFL lineman, Ross Tucker.
Oh, yeah, it is. But it's not just any Ross Tucker Football Podcast. It is a Wisdom Wednesday, presented, of course, by DraftKings. I am Ross Tucker, former NFL offensive lineman, 5 teams, 7 years. Most of you know that. Hopefully you check me out on whatever social platform you're on, at Ross Tucker NFL. If you engage with at Ross Tucker Pod in any way, where we post the 2 or 3 highlight clips of each show. And by the way, we post the link to the show as soon as it's available. Well, then you have a chance to be a winner. By the way, programming note. I got a really busy, I got a lot of stuff going on. So if you've been one of the winners over like the last 4 to 6 months, I have not had a chance to send out the signed press passes yet. I will. I promise. I still have all of your emails. To my knowledge, I have never not sent someone that won an autograph. I just haven't had a chance to do it yet. Of course, you get an automatic signed autograph if you get a loved one, a story from myfrontpagestory.com, which is awesome. You can also be a winner if you take advantage of any of the sponsors, whether it's getting one of those awesome boxes at Future Fans using the code Ross, or westshorehome.com/Ross. Got a text message from a buddy last night that was getting one of the free estimates. That makes sense to me. Love those of you that give us the comments on YouTube, youtube.com/Ross Tucker NFL, because it's fun to do those videos for you. I'll announce the winners on Friday this week. The wisdom today comes from one of the best young running backs in the NFL. Had a huge play for the Buffalo Bills on Sunday against the Miami Dolphins. But as you will learn momentarily, his story is so much more than that. It's Ray Davis, the rookie running back for the Bills. He's today's big show, which is presented by Labatt Blue Light. Drink some Labatt Blue Lights with your friends. Live life to the power of we. Always enjoy responsibly. Beer, Labatt USA, Buffalo, New York, which makes sense talking with Ray Davis. It's big show time.
The Big Show.
Man, I love getting a chance to talk to active players during the season, especially a guy who's off to a great start in his rookie year. Just had a sweet touchdown against the Dolphins on Sunday. I'm talking about Bills rookie running back Ray Davis. Ray, thanks so much for coming on the show, man. Really appreciate it.
I appreciate you for having me. I appreciate you taking some time out to let me come join the show and talk a little ball.
Heck yeah, man. So I knew some of your story, but then obviously knowing you were coming on, I was looking more of it up. Just unbelievable, the perseverance that you've displayed throughout your life. Let's start at the start, man. Tell me about your childhood, where you grew up. I saw you had a bunch of siblings. Just for the people that aren't familiar with your story, can you kind of go through it for them?
Yeah, for me, I grew up in San Francisco, California, and I battled a lot of trials and tribulations to be where I am today. But just kind of going through what I went through at such a young age, being in a foster care system, jumping from home to home and trying to just figure out a place to be. A mantra that I kind of lived by at that time was just surviving, and I had to survive every decision I made, and not only just really affected my life, but it affected a lot of other people around me. And I chose to kind of take a path that not a lot of people wanted me to take. I chose to take a path that I don't think a lot of people would have probably took, at the ages that I was. And I'm proud to have faced the things that I went through. I'm proud to have been in a position where I had to think like a man at a young age and make decisions that was going to propel me to have the future I wanted to have. Because for the first time in my entire life, when I got out of the foster care system, I was able to have control of my life. So, just kind of facing what I faced, and to be in this position now is just it's worth looking back on, but sometimes it's worth just looking forward to what the future is going to bring.
So when you say a lot of people didn't want you to take or didn't think you should take in terms of the path, what are you referring to?
Yeah, being in the foster care system, dealing with the CPS, it's a lot of higher up. You know, a lot of people who make decisions for you when you're young. You have social workers, attorneys, and just people who are put in power that is supposed to speak for you, rather than kind of hearing you out and understanding, what you want. And just the decision that was for me to go to boarding school and leave California to come up towards New York, that was a decision that I made solely on myself. But it took me to battle so many people to be able to have that become a realistic opportunity, from my social workers to my attorneys to talking to the judge, like all these important people who could make a decision to help a young kid out is stopping that because they feel that he won't have the support that he's going to have if he chooses to take a route. And like I told my judge what support do I have? Being in the position I am at that moment. So yeah, it was a lot of people who was against it, but I was able to kind of speak for myself and advocate for myself, and was able to get the answers changed to a yes rather than a no.
So and forgive my ignorance. I mean, I know a little bit about it, but not a lot about it. The foster care system comes into play when you don't have someone that either wants to or is capable of caring for you. Is that correct?
I mean, there's many ways you can be going in the foster care system. Again, it could be truancy from not being at school for so long. It could be welfare checks. It could be so many things that have to do with your well-being, your safety, and the people who are around you, and potentially your family members. So, for my instance, I was in a home that wasn't necessarily the best for three kids and a single mother to kind of go forward in. And we end up having to split up just due to the simple fact that my mom became incarcerated. So there was really not, at a time, there wasn't really for anywhere else us to go at a young age. And then we just kind of kept bouncing and bouncing from mom to dad to system to being in it. But you typically don't age out until about 18 unless you do get adopted by in a family.
Got it. And so you never did age out. You just, how did you even know about the chance to go to boarding school? Like, how'd that even come about?
Yeah, I was blessed to meet a woman by the name of Laura Banks, who I call mom, and I was blessed to meet me and her son played AAU ball, and it took a 6 hour car ride for her to kind of get to know me, get to know my life story, and she took an interest in me and just kind of understood the path that was kind of destined for me that I didn't see, but she saw. And she just sat there late nights filling out applications, finding opportunities to get me out the city to again give me a chance to just go be somebody. And she met, she had a family friend who told us about Trinity Pauling, which is a boarding school I went through, and it kind of just started to kind of become a realistic opportunity of filling out applications, having Zoom interviews, flying to have an interview. And if it wasn't for her, and if it wasn't for her having such a big dream for me at that time that I didn't have, you know, uh, there'd be no Ray Davis. There would be no Buffalo Bills. There wouldn't be NCAA football play. Nothing. There would be none of that. There would have been just a little boy who was scared to speak for himself, and she helped my dad get full custody of me. So to answer your question, no, I didn't age out. I was blessed to be fully my dad to take full sole custody of me at the age of 16. So I was able to get out of there before I turned 18.
Wow. That is unbelievable, man. I mean, it's hard enough, dude, to make the NFL. You know what I mean? Anybody that's ever made it, you know how hard it is and how good the guys are that get cut and how hard it is to even get that opportunity. For you to do it with what you had to overcome is especially impressive. I guess I'm curious, the siblings. So when they split you guys up?
At that time, I was just living with my little brother and my little sister on my mom's side. A lot of my other siblings, we all got different moms, so they got to live a different little life than I did. And then I was able to really adopt Laura's kids as my siblings, her two daughters and her two sons. So they became my siblings. So it's a big crew from the standpoint of people who've been in my life, but biological or half, there's about 11 or 12 of us, 10 of us.
Is there like you're only a rookie, so it's kind of early for you. Is there a way that you hope to give back or hope to try to fix the system? Is there a way like people listening or the people that watch us, youtube.com/Ross Tucker NFL, is there something that you would recommend to them, or is there something that you think could realistically help the system? Because I don't know hardly anything about it because I've never been a part of it, never had to, thankfully. And I it sounds bad, Ray, but I don't know that I've ever heard anything positive of the foster care system. Like what am I missing? Are there people that have positive experiences? And if not, why not? Why do I only ever hear the negative stuff?
Yeah, there's a lot that I want to do. First I want to continue to just get educated within the system. I know from my point of view and the trial and tribulations I face, but there's always a higher up archy of learning how things work, of why this, why that, or who's in charge and who gets the final say so. So to be able to get more educated in that field, so when I do come back, I have more power, I have more knowledge, I have more education to be like, okay, this is where I see there's wrong, in terms of as when you get adopted or you talk to a foster parent, they go through background checks, they go house checks, they go through so many steps to be able to have a child come live with them. But as a child, you don't really know much about them. You just know this is a temporary place that you have to go and stay at. You don't know if they just want you because there's a consistent check coming in every month to take care of you. You don't know if they're just using this to get a bunch of kids to then get more money out of there's so many doors of why this and why that. So I think as I continue to learn and I get educated and build my team around me to then hey, let's go fix these things. Let's go bring awareness to these things. And I hope I don't know, but I hope there is a lot of better positive stories and better outcomes being in the foster care system from, kids who get adopted by wonderful families and they go on and be loved. And I hope there's a lot of those. As of right now, I know there isn't. And that's why I'm happy to be where I am today because I can be a great example of how you can make it out and how you can put yourself in the best position to succeed with just really good people around you who have the love and support and want to see you go far and not just see you as a check or a dollar sign for a couple months or potentially a couple weeks.
Wow. That is crazy, man. Crazy. All right. When did you start playing ball? Because you mentioned Laura Banks and you mentioned AAU. When did you start playing football?
Yeah, I mean, I always had played it, from flag football to being on a concrete in elementary school. I probably got into tackle football around like 9 or 10. I played SF Pal Seahawks in San Francisco. My dad was a living legend for them. A lot of my friends' pops were living legends. So it was kind of like a generational thing of, your dad or your cousin, your uncle played it, so you got to kind of go play it. And I fell in love with it there. I had a lot of big shoes to fill with my dad. And I slowly started to figure out that I was kind of good. They had me playing DN, and when I first ever got it, and I was like, okay, I kind of like playing defense. And once I got the ball in my hand, and it was house call, I never looked back. I said, I'm an offensive guy day in and day out.
So that was part of the reason why you went to the prep school, was the boarding school to play football. Then you end up getting an offer to Temple, and they saw you in high school and gave you the offer, and then you were a full ride college football player.
Yeah, pretty much at that point. When I went to boarding school, I actually was a basketball recruit. I was a basketball scholarship guy. And then I had end up
Five
switching.
eight's rough, bro.
Yeah, basketball, man. I was a basketball scholarship guy, and then eventually I ended up texting the football coach before I got there. I'm like, "Yo, here's some little highlights of me in eighth grade playing Pop Warner. Um, it'd be cool if I can come and play ball too instead of basketball." And again, I played basketball that year, but they knew I was really a football kid. I had a good jump shot, but I wasn't posting up nobody.
That is awesome. Curious, how much you think your upbringing affects how you play or how you run with the football? I've seen you going back to Vandy and Kentucky and the amount of tackles that you break. Do you feel like your upbringing and what you overcame, do you feel like that fuels you, or do you feel like it's totally unrelated?
I'll say somewhat unrelated in a way. Just in terms of being on the field, I play for my family. I play for everything that I've been through, but I also just I just love the game. That really just what it is. Football has been a sport that got me away from so many bad roads I could have went down, or from out of so many situations that I was facing, because it was an escape from what I was going through. So I've always loved the game. When I'm out there, I just love playing ball. But I know it always comes back to what it took to get here. And I think that's why I go hard each and every day when I come to work and do the things I need to do, because I know that I wouldn't be here without anything that I faced. But while I'm here, I need to remember that this wasn't an easy road. So don't take this for granted when you walk in this building. You know what I'm saying? You got to understand that any day, at any moment, this could be taken away. So let's enjoy it while you have it. And I always look back at what I've been through to get to where I am now.
So you're with the Bills. You got, especially when Cook was out, you were getting a bunch of time. You had the touchdown on Sunday. Walk me through, that was a catch, right? I'm trying to remember the play.
Yeah, it was a catch. It was a catch.
What was the play? Walk me through it.
Hey, I came up open. I think they lost me in the backfield, me being short. They can't see me over the lineman. Just did a little swing out. Josh was able to dump it off to me, and it was about the biggest things you learn as a running back, even an offensive player. But listen, the O-line, they'll get you through the first and second level, but when you get to that third level, it's all on you. And that's kind of all I thought about was I got to make this guy miss. And then I just kind of saw green daylight, and I heard the crowd go crazy, and I scored. Like I said, I blacked out because I was like, "Holy smack!" Like I just scored a 60-something yarder, and I told myself earlier in that game, I was like, the Jets game was so great, it was fun, but I'm like, I wish I could have a game like that in Highmark at home, because it would just hit so much more different. And God blessed me with the opportunity to have that game kind of again at Highmark.
It's awesome, man. It's funny because I people are always surprised by this, Ray. I played for 5 teams, and my favorite team was the Bills.
Yeah.
Loved it. Just loved the people up there. We all kind of hung out together as a team. Other teams aren't necessarily like that. Guys are kind of all over the place. I liked that we all hung out together, and I don't know. It felt like it was like college, except we all had money. It was great. It was awesome. Absolutely awesome. And did you jump in the end? Did you jump in the stands?
Yeah, yeah, I had been. I always see photos of the guys doing it, and I'm like, I gotta get me one. So I had to. The vertical looked good at that time too.
Did you have you seen any pictures from it yet?
Yeah, yeah, I got a couple. I'm gonna get one framed and put it here in the man cave, and see how it goes.
That is awesome, man. That is so cool. I love that you're with a good team. I mean, the Bills are good and Josh Allen's awesome. Have you had any welcome to the NFL moment yet? Whether it was the first OTA and you saw Josh, or maybe it's something in the game where you're going up against somebody. Has there been anything that, like, because I remember when I was first getting a physical and it was like Bruce Smith and Darrell Green, guys had been playing since I was 4 years old and 6 years old. I was like, oh my gosh, this is nuts.
Yeah, no, I haven't really had that yet in terms of being around the guys, because I look at the guys as just the guys to me. I've been around a lot of good players in my time who become top dogs in the NFL. So you kind of look at that and goes, man, that's good to see that guy going crazy. But welcome to NFL moment. I would just say the Jets game in terms of probably the whole world probably didn't think I could do it. I think the whole world probably was like, can he handle James being out? Can he handle, just the adversity that comes with it? And I think that was my welcome to the NFL moment, because who would have thought maybe, fifth, fourth, sixth game of the season, well, I'd be in a position to go out there and shock the world. And that's what I loved about it.
Man, I knew all about you from college, and then everybody, all the fantasy dudes were talking about you all summer, all August. They like your chances as backing up James. Really appreciate the time, man. Keep it rolling. Enjoy watching you play. Obviously, it's fun for me to see any Bill doing well, but especially you. Thank you for sharing your story, man, with my with the listeners and the viewers. I really appreciate it.
So I appreciate you for having me.
I mentioned it at the start of the show, but shout out to my buddy who texted me last night. He's getting the estimate to get a new shower. Let me see exactly what he said in his text. He said, I heard the ad enough times, getting an estimate for our front door. Love it. Absolutely love it. You should do the same. It's free installation, plus 18 months, no interest, no payments. Also, how about this? For showers only, they're guaranteeing install by Christmas or it's free. And by the way, we're in November, which means we're a couple weeks away from me getting the 2 new doors, which is awesome. That'll be like my 3rd and 4th West Shore Home projects. WestShoreHome.com/Ross. You think I would let these guys do stuff to my house unless I trusted them implicitly and they did an amazing job? WestShoreHome.com/Ross. WestShoreHome.com/Ross. Check out the before and after pictures. You will love them. Hey, so this Smirnoff contest is ending soon. I've been telling you guys about it the last couple weeks. It's WeDoGameDays.com. It ends November 15th. They're giving fans in select areas of the country a chance to win the ultimate game day experience, tickets, sideline passes, much more. Please drink responsibly. Smirnoff number 21 vodka, distilled from grain, 40% alcohol by volume. The Smirnoff Company, New York, New York. Please not share with anyone under legal drinking age. No purchase necessary. 21 plus. And 11/15/24. See rules at website for participating area and other important details. Sponsored by Diageo Americas Incorporated, New York, New York. Here's the deal. There's no I in football. It's a we thing. You experience it together. Good drinks, good folks. That's my friends at Smirnoff, the world's #1 vodka, an official vodka partner of the NFL. WeDoGameDays.com. WeDoGameDays.com.
Tuck's Takes.
All right, Ross. Lot of trades to get to. We'll start Zadarius Smith. He and a 7th round pick are traded from Cleveland. They're headed to Detroit for a 5th and a 6th rounder.
You know, they could have waited a little bit later in the morning or later in the day to announce this. I knew he was getting traded for a lot of different reasons. I knew that. And so I predicted it during the power rankings yesterday at 7 a.m. or whenever we recorded it. It was like 45 minutes later he was traded. I mean, so some of you won't even believe that I called that, but I did. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people thought Zadarius was going to get traded. It makes sense, right? For the Browns, you know, they're not going anywhere this year. They recognize that. It's kind of a reload or development year for them now at this point. And so to get 5th and 6th round picks, that has some value for them. For the Lions, they had to get a productive pass rusher. And that's exactly what Zadarius is, a guy that can win those one-on-one battles, which you're going to get at times. He's not Aiden Hutchinson. Not many people are, but he might be good enough to help them get where they want to go, which is the Super Bowl, which would be amazing. The Lions in the Super Bowl would just be bananas.
Probably the biggest trade, the Commanders, they're sending 3rd, 4th, and 6th round picks to New Orleans Saints for cornerback Marshawn Lattimore and a 5th rounder.
Well, what's interesting about Marshawn is, unlike Zadarius, who I believe this is the last year of his contract, Marshawn Lattimore has 2 more after this. There's several interesting aspects of this. Number one, Lattimore getting traded by the Saints triggers a cap hit of over $30 million for the Saints for next year in dead cap. So the Saints, and I'm sure Andrew Brandt talked about this on the Business of Sports, and he's talked about that on this show before as well. The Saints have long been known for kind of pushing out the cap pain, if you will, restructuring contracts, bonusing guys. You can kind of, it's almost like a credit card, right? Well, this trade of Lattimore and taking on over $30 million in dead cap next year, it's the first time where it seems like, oh wow, the Saints might use next year as a reset year to kind of get their salary cap back in order. They might have to do that. As for the Commanders, they're in the opposite situation. They have a star quarterback on a rookie contract, so the time is now. The time to take advantage of that is now, and the Commanders are trying to take advantage of that. That's a lot. 3rd and 4th picks. I mean, you can say the 6th and the 5th kind of cancel each other out. So 2 picks, 3rd and 4th for Lattimore, but he is under contract for the next couple years. It's a huge position of need. and he's been very good. In fact, he's been good against the Eagles. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. So there's a lot of reasons why the Commanders made that move. They play against each other in 8 days, and Lattimore should be ready to go. We'll have to find out what the deal is with his hamstring.
Bears are trading running back Khalil Herbert to the Bengals for a 7th rounder.
Well, so the Bengals put Zach Moss on IR with a neck injury, so they needed another running back in addition to Chase Brown. The Bears felt like with Swift and Roshan Johnson, the guys they have, they didn't really need Khalil Herbert. So I like trades like this that just make sense for both sides. Bears rather get a draft pick, and the Bengals felt like they needed a second running back that's got some experience that can get it done.
Panthers are sending wide receiver Jonathan Mingo to the Cowboys for a 4th rounder.
Maybe the Mingo ate your baby. You know that one, Jack?
I know. I hear that I know it's maybe the Dingo ate your baby. I forget what movie it's
Seinfeld.
from.
Pretty good. Pretty good. So trading a 4th round pick is interesting for the Cowboys. Now, Mingo was like the 33rd pick in the draft just last year. So, people like guys that get drafted that high, right? They had a high grade on him, a lot of ability. But for Carolina to move on from him, wow.
Bless you, Ross.
Thank you.
And we'll move to the next one. Broncos are trading edge rusher Baron Browning to the Cardinals for a 6th rounder, and they're also signing Jonathan Cooper to a big extension.
Right, those kind of went hand in hand, right? They're two of their young pass rushers. They like Cooper more. He's playing better. Give him the long-term deal. They can afford to move on from Browning. The Cardinals didn't really have an edge rusher, kind of like the Lions, that could win versus one-on-one. How about the Cardinals being a little aggressive here, trading a pick to get an edge rusher?
Steelers, they're trading for wide receiver Mike Williams and Preston Smith from the Packers, while Tre'Davious White, he's going to the Ravens, and the Niners, they get Texans DT Khalil Davis.
Well, I figured the Niners would add somebody on the D-line. They kind of always do at this point in the year, someone that their D-line coach, Chris Kachurik, likes. As for Tre'Davious White, 7th round picks, I mean, it's low. We'll see. Not a lot of expectations there. And I remember when I did the Jets-Steelers game on the radio, I was saying, Jack, that I thought Mike Williams would end up being a Steeler. That's exactly what happened. The Preston Smith one surprised me a little bit because I feel like the Steelers already have an abundance of edge rushers, but they felt like they needed one more. Other than that, I think we're done here.
Thanks for tuning in to the Ross Tucker Football Podcast. Make sure to also check out Even Money, Fantasy Feast, and College Draft, all on the DraftKings Network on Samsung TV Plus, YouTube, or subscribe to the podcast on your favorite platform.
Shout out myfrontpagestory.com. Told you earlier, I'll tell you again. It's so important in life that you make sure the people you care about know that you care about them. I'm not aware of a better way to do it than giving them the front page cover story treatment from a professional writer. It's framed, it's beautiful, it's amazing. It's myfrontpagestory.com. Pizza Boy Brewing, Sporticulture, HumanHeadNYC.com, BackOfficeScheduler.com.